What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode clip of BPD Podcast. Just to remind you guys that these are only short and clips, and if you want to listen to the full episode, click the first link below. Or alternatively, you can type in BPD Podcast on all your audio listening platforms. And without further ado, I'll catch you guys on the other side.
And up to this day, 30 years after she sucked this guy's dick.
One more time, bro. The sour straw. Oh, hell no! Man, what the
You are now listening to Breathe the Podcast with your host, Majaro.
What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of BPD the Podcast. And you know what I'm going to say, Samia?
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Because we're trying to build a community here. And by sharing this with your friends and family, that goes a long way in helping us do that. So, you said toxic relationships. Now, speaking of toxic relationships, everyone's seen the latest court case between Mr. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
I'm Captain Jack Sparrow.
Case is dismissed. We're done.
That's one toxic relationship.
That has been front page news.
Mate, it's been all over the interwebs.
It has. It's like...
It's been on Shadeborough, Sky,
I've been
CNN.
seeing more about people reacting to what's been going on and what's been going on itself. I've not been following the court case or anything, and it is this weird mix of reality TV and it's so the internet is its own little world. It's its own little world. The internet.
4K. They've got this live streaming if you can.
Yeah. So, oh man, that's just such an interesting topic in itself, Mitch. Because obviously in America they live stream court cases.
Some, not obviously
some
all,
court,
but
we don't do that here
at all. And you'll be lucky to even get drawings.
Yeah, I know, right? They can't even take a picture. We have this old sketch work.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But obviously, you gotta understand. I'd prefer that than the live stream.
Yeah, because it's just so. Yeah,
I'm not planning to go to court anytime soon.
Yeah, but the publicity. I mean, it's America, and that's just a completely different.
So many people have made so much money off it. Anything big, anything major in the court case, there'll be memes, there'll be short videos.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There'll be live streams of the whole day. There'll be dissections of Amber Heard's, facial expressions and body language.
Oh man, the amount of content that people can draw out of that, and we're doing it. We're doing it right now. I was just thinking the same thing. There's people who they are other podcasters or YouTubers, whatever. Everybody's tuned into what's been going on, because they know that there's such a huge market for it in the US. And here, do you know what I mean? All over the world.
It was all over the world.
Because it's just so...
It was so scandalous.
Yeah,
that's why.
So scandalous.
It was so scandalous. That's why
Exactly.
people love scandal. There was this TV show, it was an American TV show called Scandal. Yo, it was the most salacious stuff ever.
Oh, yeah?
And this
I've
is
heard
exactly
about
like
this,
it.
and, it might be up my street now. If this is this trial, then I'll be hooked.
Yo, so it all starts off from the public side, Amber Heard, in an op-ed not naming Johnny Depp to, I think, the New York Post and the Guardian, saying I was in an abusive relationship for a long period of time. She didn't name his name, but everyone could put two and two together. And he suddenly gets dropped from this, that, and the third. She starts, being an activist for domestic violence and, victims and survivors.
Who said parrhesia, which means not simply freedom of speech per se, but rather fearless speech. The freedom to speak truth to power.
So he's getting his name tarnished while she's simultaneously becoming the next best thing. And at first, when everything started breaking out about him, I thought it was fishy from the get-go.
Really?
Yeah. I was I feel like as soon as I was like, Johnny Depp, okay, you can never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
As we clearly know now.
Yeah.
Right? So Johnny Depp gets accused. I'm thinking, is there any history of this? I searched. There was no history of him, he had fights with other guys, like in a drunken brawl, I think once, and that was it. No history of him beating women,
The thing is, there's no history in Harvey Weinstein either. So it's as soon as you need people to come forward for there to be a history.
But someone did. I think it was Kate Moss that came forward and said, I was in a relationship for a long period of time. His ex-wife, before Amber Heard, said, "I've got kids with him." Like he is not. These papers are claiming he is to be, but obviously cancel culture act now. Think later.
I mean, I do believe that maybe like people who. Because there's two elements to it. Number one, maybe he was, a different person when he was dating Kate Moss. Do you know what I mean?
That could be a possibility.
You don't know what he's gone through in the past 20 years. You could go through a lot in 20 years and,
True.
really change as a person, And then the number two, I think that, again, back to what we were talking about being in a healthy relationship, you can have somebody who, maybe there's that kind of like sexual and romantic attraction and that side of things work, but you just drive each other crazy. And I've been in that I've been in that kind of relationship as well, where it's just never going to work. You push each other's buttons. There's massive rows,
but maybe that physical attraction
maybe
just
there's
keeps
massive
you there.
rows and great sex afterwards, but that is not fucking sustainable as a long term. Let's get married type of thing. That's like.
But they did get married.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's when it turns into a toxic relationship. If it's like a little fling, and you kind of that's lesson learned, and you walk away from it, and then you learn from it in the way that we were talking.
But if you marry it,
and I've got an ex-girlfriend in mind, and thank God I didn't marry her. I'm not naming any names, but it would have been me on that court case. Because,
oh shit!
Yeah, that's where it would have gone.
Damn. Like, so now we know in the day and age of social media. iPhones, smartphones, Samsung, Androids, people are recording themselves.
Yeah.
So it felt like maybe a year after everything broke out, stuff started getting leaked of video recordings between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. It was like, how does this even exist? It felt like it was the first time where we can hear full-on conversations between two big celebrities. Or celebrities in general. Like we can always hear secondhand sources. Everyone's got their own source in it, like Connor says. So stuff getting leaked, and it starts to paint a picture of Johnny Depp not being the abuser, but being the abused.
I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
He was the victim, and you heard it plain as day. Amber Heard hitting him, berating him. The arguments were back and forth, like both parties were arguing, but you can hear security guards. You can, get secondhand. Now, this is why people say sources. The bodyguards had to get involved and separate Amber from Johnny. Johnny would be the one, like she says, always wanting to go away, walk away, leave the situation, but she would want to bring him back in and antagonize him and try and make him act out. And it felt like it was, I'm sorry to say, but very one way. It felt like she was literally gunning for my man.
So do you think that it was like a fame thing or... like...
I think it was a power thing from her. Like she said, go on, Johnny. Tell the world that I hit you. They'll never believe it. They said... She said that.
The thing is, it's like...
She said that, and Johnny did exactly that. And guess what? The world believed him. Because... now we have evidence. Because before, don't get it twisted, before, you already know if he didn't have this evidence, his career would have been gone.
Yeah, and it's true, and it's... I think that, if this had happened 20 years ago, I think he would have been fine, to be honest. I think the media would have spun it as...
You think he would have been fine?
Yeah, I think he would have been fine. I think the media would have spun it as this next woman trying to be famous by chatting shit about.
No,
Johnny
but
Depp.
she was already famous. She's an actress in herself. Aquaman and something else.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have known her by name until this court case. Now my mum knows her by name.
True, she's infamous now. I wouldn't say she's famous. She's definitely
she's
infamous.
done a Monica Lewinsky. To an extent, she has.
But with Monica Lewinsky, didn't it actually happen?
I mean, it did happen, but it wasn't. But we're going off track again. But with Monica Lewinsky, it was not her who had an affair, but it was her who got all the shit.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. These allegations are false.
A few moments later.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part for which I am solely and completely responsible.
Probably because she's a woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Right?
True.
And up to this day, 30 years after she sucked this guy's dick.
One more time, bro. The sour straw. Oh, hell no! Man, what the
I'm mentioning her name. Do you know what I mean? And she's famous for that reason.
No, but she's done more than that. She's released books. I know that for sure.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have had a platform.
True,
she does
to
TED
do
Talks,
that.
doesn't she? Sorry, Monica, if you're watching. She does TED Talks.
Like Monica's definitely going to
Yeah.
or listening.
But she wouldn't have had that fame if it wasn't.
If she didn't get assaulted? Fair enough.
She was just, I don't know, she had quite a menial job, I feel. Obviously she was quite, she was working in the White House, but, how many people who work in the White House can you name right now off the top of your head? Do you know what I mean? Let alone who worked in the White House in the 90s, or the 80s, whatever.
I can just about say Joe Biden.
Yeah, but he's the flipping president, so I should hope that you can, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Everyone in that administration is just...
Yeah, but I think at the time she took the shit for it because she's a woman. And now, again, I feel like she's had that platform to be able to write books and do the TED Talks and stuff, mainly because of the Me Too movement. We've had a different...
I don't think you can compare a president. Come on, there's so many more factors trying to protect that guy than... Oh, he's actually the nice guy. There's actually vested interest in this guy not being...
True.
Massage noir.
True. But I don't think it was because Bill Clinton was president. I think it's because...
Damn, power dynamics. Amber knew she had the power to say this.
But again, what I'm saying is
she had the power to say this
because
thing.
we've kind of just, I don't know if this is probably the downfall of the Me Too movement, but because maybe she was riding that wave of the Me Too movement and thinking, if I say this shit about you, everybody's going to back me because it's, I don't know, fashionable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just going with the crowd.
Yeah, everyone's going to
politically correct.
You can't really say, oh no, you're chatting shit, because that's
believe our women, isn't it?
Yeah, because women, right now women are being
obviously
given that kind of platform.
Yeah, given an opportunity to, no one's going to shut them down if they've got an actual grievance. We're going to listen to you. But after we've listened, and we listened to those recordings...
But there was a bit of a culture of kind of taking men down. I feel like, maybe somewhere in there...
the patriarchy.
Yeah, there was. And I feel like this is it now. Now that we have that kind of solid example of someone who just kind of tried to ride the wave.
I mean, we've had... Jussie Smollett was exactly like that. So we had something when it comes to race, and someone trying to leverage their race and be like, oh, I'm this victim.
It's literally the same thing. It's the same thing.
To boost yourself and propel yourself above.
But again, that was a massive, massive story. And I feel like from now on, whenever there's a genuine black victim, you can always say, oh no, they're...
Oh, come on, you can't do that.
Yeah, but they will. And I feel like in the same sense...
But I feel like, if the evidence is there, that's why I fully believe in facts and evidence.
But, I feel like...
If there's evidence like there was with Johnny Depp, people, I feel like, would actually, side with him. That's one of the things that was the problem with Bill Clinton. They didn't have the evidence like that. They just had such respect in, and her you know, her coming out, and at that time, people weren't given, the political climate was not in favour. So that's why I don't think he would have skated free.
I think that, I mean, I'm more focused on like, today you don't think he would have, okay, what I said about, yeah, but.
And back then, Johnny Depp he would have been protected. Because there was no evidence back then. Back then, there wouldn't have been no evidence.
There's no evidence now. There's no evidence.
There was evidence now, but there wouldn't have been any evidence then, and he would have been protected. But now the political climate is different, and he got, you know, taken down because the political climate wasn't in his favor in terms of everything, right? But he backed it up with facts and evidence and said, actually, no, this is what the true picture is. It's not what's over on the right, like crazy.
I see what you mean, but I still think that
see Amber Heard was clearly the person just.
I still feel like if this was a case where it had happened in the 90s, even if there was no like video evidence, because obviously, you know, we didn't have camera phones and stuff.
Or recordings.
Yeah, like, I think that the media, in terms of just the way that women were represented in the media, would have been like, look at this bitch trying to get more famous off of Johnny Depp.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that since, you know, obviously there's been that cultural change over the past 20 years, but especially with the Me Too movement, there has been kind of like a platform recently where women who have been kind of served an injustice are being listened to. Do you know what I mean? If you think about how many cases historically, they're going back to the, you know, 70s, 80s, 90s or whatever, do you know what I mean? You know, with like Donald Trump and with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And at the time, there just wasn't a platform for these women to come forward because nobody wanted to listen.
Yeah,
there has been a cultural change.
Yeah,
do you know
definitely.
what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's why
definitely.
I think that maybe even
100%.
Amber Heard wouldn't have even gotten to the courts, maybe, if this had been the thing that happened in the late 90s, because,
definitely.
you know, whether she was lying or telling the truth, I don't feel like she would have been given the time of day to actually accuse him and I feel like that whole thing has taken place because of the Me Too movement, and because now, you know, for the courts to just shut down and be like, oh, shut up, woman, that this didn't happen, without actually displaying the evidence to everybody, it would have looked like a secretly abusive man who's, you know, given lots of power, not really, you know, has lots of money and, you know, can kind of, is respected in Hollywood, you know, and is thought of as a really kind of like a great actor and quite a gentle person, and
his reputation
and,
was up there, man.
Exactly.
Man like Captain Jack. Like I said, he's able to back up with facts and evidence, so everyone believes him now. And the girl even she had a makeup kit, bro. She had a makeup kit. She painted on the bruises. You know, she was sending them to people, and you can tell that, you know, they've digitally edited it, you know, to make it seem deeper than it actually was. She said bruise kit because that's the terminology in acting, where they've actually got a bruise kit to put on, you know, bruises. So for her to use that in a deposition, when she's being examined, the examination, was very comical. She said, oh no, makeup or whatever.
And then if you want to cover up a bruise, you obviously put foundation first, concealer, and then on top of that, I use a bruise kit. Not a bruise kit, it's a theater makeup kit, a color correction kit, but I called it my bruise kit.
Gotcha, bitch!
And then she had to retract it. There's so many times that Johnny Depp's lawyer, like, she's the one. She was just tearing.
She was good.
She was literally
I want her to be my lawyer, to be honest.
She was literally leading her along this path that she paid for herself.
Yeah, exactly.
And just highlighted, so you said you did this and did that.
She was,
but you're saying this happened. That's not what I said what happened. You just said that 2 sentences ago. That's not what I said. Oh, did you donate? I pledged. Have you paid? You know, I'm trying to fulfill those commitments.
Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They're the same thing.
Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
Just in case anyone is wondering what the difference between pledge and donation is, a pledge is about providing money or goods over a specific amount of time as promised by the donor, while a donation deals with the immediate transfer of money or goods from a donor.
You've watched the whole case.
I've not. I've just seen the highlights. I've just seen the highlights and the lowlights. But yeah, like
it's an interesting one.
And like hearing the detail was especially interesting because when it came out from hers, I think it's just hers, psychiatrist, and said that she has borderline personality disorder. That's when I was like, sounds about right. Like, I've been with someone who had borderline personality disorder, and the way she broke it down, it was, they've got abandonment issues. They've got a fear of, being cheated on. They can be high one moment, and in this, the next moment they can be, really down, and they're praising you, they're saying you're the best thing ever, and then they're tearing you down, and you're thinking, like Johnny Depp, I assume, because I felt like I was in the same situation. That's probably why I empathize with him so much,
right? Yeah.
Because it's a roller coaster. You go down solo, you're thinking about the next high, bro.
Stay off the damn weed, and they don't listen.
You're like, I can't wait to get to that level. We were just there a week ago. I can make it work. You're thinking, yes.
Yeah.
And it takes a really strong willed person to, come to grips with that and understand.
And
that.
Actually, now that you're saying this, because
it's hard. Like it's not easy.
I was wondering, kind of like, if that's the case, then I wonder what was stopping him from walking away. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's that cycle. Because you get into that cycle. Yeah. The highs and lows. You even get addicted to that low key. Because you're thinking, yes, when it's high, it's going to be lit. Like when we're back to being good, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be lock off. But it's not healthy. And like you said earlier, it's not sustainable. So when the psychiatrist was literally diagnosing her, how she would make stuff up to protect herself, and she would want to be perceived a specific way. That's why she would, obviously one of the things of being an actress is being able to be perceived a certain way. And obviously she wanted to tell a lie to the world to make herself be perceived a certain way.
Right.
So that she can, tear someone down and build her profile up. That's what the lawyers were saying. And leverage her relationship with Johnny Depp in the worst way possible when everything starts to come. I think
it's pretty, I don't know, it's quite kind of, it must be difficult, and it's quite sad that it's just kind of just so public,
Yeah.
It would be kind of, if you need that kind of reassurance, it would be nicer to have like, a trial is public enough already, but then a trial
by media as well. Social media was going crazy.
It's a lot, it must be a lot to kind of deal with psychologically in itself, so I can only imagine what else she can add to her list of mental illnesses after this trial. I mean,
only God knows.
Only God knows, yeah.
Like, obviously, like things like this. This is like we talked about trauma earlier. This is probably one of the most traumatic things for both sides. Like, it's like obviously someone having to go through lengths to lie and say this and that, and then obviously the other person has to defend themselves, and then it's the back and forth. Is you sue me, I sue you.
Yeah,
and I think the media.
Yeah, for me it would be that those recordings being.
They need to be single for a while.
Yeah, like the idea of somebody recording me when I don't know, what I'm saying.
No, they knew.
Oh, okay.
They were both recording each other.
But then
that's what was crazy.
It's also a thing of like if you and Charlotte record something that only you and Charlotte are going to watch, and then one day it comes out in court, I'm not saying anything, you know what I mean? Just even just a conversation, you guys talking about whatever, your feelings or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Some things like when you're not expecting an audience, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because obviously you're going to be more honest than.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that's what scientists talk about. Just being perceived by people.
Yeah.
Makes you act a different way. Yeah. Like you're not going to be out here chilling in your boxers and your briefs when your family's around, are you?
Yeah, exactly. even, you know, literally something like that. So for me, the idea of like that trial by media and just the level of publicity to it would just like, wouldn't be able to deal with it.
You wouldn't be able to deal with
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, damn, the trauma.
Yeah, everybody having an opinion, everybody, you know, commenting. People like, I've not seen this trial, you know what I mean? And I can still hold a conversation about it. Because it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Like, obviously the one before this in terms of relationships with Will Smith and Jada Smith, like, that felt like that was literally tiny compared to this.
Yeah, it really was, yeah.
Like, we thought that consumed the news cycle for like a good 2 weeks. This one has been a whole month.
Yeah.
A whole month memes.
And I feel like
on a different level.
With the way that things move fast, you know, in this day and age, so forth, the fact that it's been up there for so long just shows how huge it is. You know, the Will Smith thing, it was big, but then people moved on. I feel like people moved on, as they do. You know, people move on from this as well. It's just that
it's just more juicy to talk about.
It is more juicy.
Yeah, we've got so much to work with.
Yeah, we have. Again, I haven't seen the trial. But, and also, it's going to change. It's going to change a lot of things. I think when it comes to the future, I do think that we're kind of coming to that kind of we reached the pinnacle of the Me Too movement just before Amber Heard did this. And
then, she put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, exactly. And then now it's kind of.
I definitely feel that as well. Like,
there's going to be a.
Obviously, it was needed for that time.
Yeah, it is. But then, you know, there's a growing number of cases where men are suing women for defamation after they've accused them of something.
Yeah, I swear, like a rise in that.
Yeah, there's a rise.
So basically, like Johnny Depp, he's probably the highest case.
Yeah, but you know, maybe in this case, you know, it's true. But if you can kind of bring back that old '90s style, or even it probably goes back to like, you know,
I don't think it'll ever go back to that.
It's biblical though, that kind of.
I don't think it'll ever go back to that. I mean, I feel like already, you know, courts believe women a lot more than the men. Like they get.
Yeah.
You know, more sentences of a
higher sentences. Yeah, that is true.
So already you've got that.
I'm interested to
when
see
it comes
how
to family
it will kind of change.
Court cases, women get custody mainly. Like it takes a lot for a guy to get custody. Like she has to be fully negligent in that. So so already the courts are I say
I'd like to
favor.
see, you know, if it maybe just kind of stalls that kind of transition of things being a little bit more equal and people just being seen as, you know, just two distinct parties. Where
not having any crazy biases.
Yeah. Because I feel like, you know, obviously there's so many elements in it, and people, you know, nobody knows. Most of us don't know Johnny Depp, but in person. But,
we just go off what is on the media,
and you end up having kind of like a bias, you know.
Definitely have a bias.
You know,
but like I said, if it's backed up with facts and evidence, and the other person is just literally being found out, you lied about this, you lied about that, which is what happened.
You know, there's some people whose I'll take their side automatically anyway before I start to hear the evidence, and then, you know what I mean, I'll be swayed by the evidence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I tend to stay neutral.
Yeah.
Until I hear.
Yeah.
Whenever something comes off, I'm like, let's just wait.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be the first.
Your favourite rapper, your favourite footballer, or something, like you wouldn't be like,
oh come on, like with the Mason Greenwood thing, like it was clear.
Okay.
With the Mason Greenwood thing, it was clear because you know about the Mason Greenwood thing. Like we heard like exact words and we heard stuff. It was crazy. So yeah, that one's still alleged. So
okay,
I hear he's still out on bail. So let's see what happens and. Let's watch that space. But, you know, I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be the last big high-profile divorce related thing. Yeah,
we'll have a lot to talk about.
Like, the first one was Will Smith. So we've got the appetizer with the Will Smith and Jada Smith. And then we've got the main course. I wonder what's going to be the dessert. Who's that going to be?
It's up and coming.
You got any?
It is, it's up and coming.
Oh, an up and coming couple.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, you could say Cardi B and is it Offset? Yeah, Cardi B and Offset. But they've been doing their thing, so it's not going to be a surprise if anything pops off. Is that a spider?
Yeah, it's a spider.
Crazy.
I'm just playing with it. Oh. Hey, you literally dropped that one.
But on that note, I think it's time we close up the episode. Thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 7 of Pre the Podcast. Wow, we made it.
We made it. That was a good little convo there. It was
exactly.
Really
I told you it's going to be nice.
Hopefully back soon.
Definitely. But thank you guys for listening. And I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.
Said I wake up every morning, pray to God that I'm fixing up. Hope I'm never slipping up. Hear the money calling, need my peace to start getting up. Feeling like I'm blessed, but it came with a bit of luck. Feeling like you stressed, then the tension starts to fill you up. Need an intermission, yeah, they ain't the same lane as us. Come from different sticks, yeah, they're not the same range as us. They cop the P's and top of T's, they're not hitting range with us. Keep a couple fairy